Kate, I'm sorry, but Ethan wants to marry Emily. So I need you to divorce him. Excuse me? I'm going to need you to explain what on earth you're talking about. Who is Emily, and what do you mean Ethan wants to marry her? Ethan's been torn between you and Emily for a while now. But he finally made a decision. He chose Emily. So let me make sure I've got this straight. Ethan has been cheating on me, and now that he's chosen his affair partner, I'm just supposed to bow out and give him a divorce. And let me guess, you expect me to pack up and leave the house I bought, the $2 million house I paid for, so he and his new wife and kid can move in? Is that really what you're asking? That's exactly right! It's best for everyone, don't you think? Wow, just wow. You really never disappoint. The word delusional comes to mind, but even that feels too kind. You pushed your son to marry into money, happily let me foot the bill for his lifestyle, and now that he's bored or emasculated or whatever, I'm being kicked out like yesterday's trash? You've got some nerve. Nerve? No! This is what a mother does. It's called love. I'll admit, maybe I went a little far, so here's my offer. I'm willing to give you $300,000 to make. Call it a goodbye gift. Just take the money, sign the papers, and hand over the house. That's your idea of closure? A payoff? You know what that really says? That you've known about this affair all along. You didn't just tolerate it, you supported it, you encouraged it. All this time, I thought we were on decent terms. You even smiled through the wedding. Did you ever mean a single word you said to me? Back then, I supported it because I thought Ethan would finally have a good life. You were wealthy, successful, and came from an established family. You were everything I thought my son needed. But I didn't realize how much it would crush his spirit. Crush his spirit? Yes. Ethan never felt like a man in your shadow. He hated how everyone saw him as the husband who married up, who rode your coattails. He was constantly comparing himself to you. He felt useless. That's why I introduced him to someone softer, someone younger, more agreeable. Emily works at his company. She's sweet, supportive. She makes him feel like a man again. So, not only did you know he was cheating, you orchestrated it. You handpicked his mistress. All because he couldn't handle being with a woman who made more money than him? And you call that love? It's better than watching him drown in self-doubt every day. I had to do something. And now that he's finally happy, I'm asking you not to stand in his way. You've had your time. Take the money and let go with dignity. A real woman knows when to walk away quietly. That's great. That line might work on someone who doesn't see through manipulation, but I'm not her. You don't get to cheat me, lie to me, evict me from my own home, and then tell me how a real woman should behave. Let me clarify something. You want me to give up my husband, my marriage, and the house I paid for in exchange for what exactly? Your approval? No one's asking for anything dramatic. You get a generous $300,000 payout. Yes, the house cost $2 million, but let's be real. It's too much house for one woman anyway. It's time to move on. Ethan and Emily are planning to start a family. This house would be better suited for them. You really do believe this twisted narrative you've built, don't you? That I should just roll over and smile because you threw me a few $100,000 like a consolation prize. And I'm supposed to be grateful? Gratitude would be appropriate, yes. You still come out of this better than most. Unbelievable. You're right about one thing. This house is too much for just one woman. But I won't be the one leaving it. You can take your hush money and offer it to someone who doesn't see through your manipulative, greedy nonsense. Kate, don't be foolish. You'll lose everything if you fight this. No, Alice. I already lost everything the moment I walked into a marriage where I was nothing more than a financial plan. But I won't lose me. And if Ethan wants this divorce, he can come and ask me himself. Until then, I'm not moving a single box. You're making this harder than it needs to be. You made this hard the second you picked his side over truth and decency. You enabled your son to cheat. You covered for him. You planned the whole betrayal and now want to call it a fresh start. You don't get to wrap selfishness in the name of maternal love and expect applause. I'm trying to protect my son. Then I pity him. Because a man who hides behind his mother to escape accountability is not a man worth protecting. Good luck with your shiny new daughter-in-law. You're going to need it.
Miss Kate, I'm en route to pick you up now. It seems the moment we've been anticipating has finally arrived.
I was mentally prepared for this, I really was. But I'll admit, I didn't expect them to be so shamelessly bold about it. I was a little caught off guard.
Yes, it was bolder than we anticipated. We expected some resistance, perhaps even attempts to stall or delay, but not a blatant admission of having a mistress. That level of audacity is remarkable.
I suppose people like Ethan think their money gives them immunity, that being wealthy somehow grants them the right to play with people's lives without consequence. Well, he picked the wrong woman for that. I'm not walking away quietly. I'm going to fight this with everything I have.
Understood. Everything is in place, the documentation, the correspondence, the photos, even the timestamps from his secret getaways. You're fully armed for this battle.
You really are exceptional. Knowing you're backing me up gives me confidence. I don't know how people survive these things without someone like you.
You're quite welcome, Miss Kate. I've served your family for years. Supporting you through this process is not only my responsibility, it's a personal commitment. You've always carried yourself with grace and dignity, even while living under Ethan's manipulations. This is overdue.
You remember when he told me, if you want the divorce so badly, just buy the house and I'll sign the papers? I bought the damn house, exactly like he said. Took care of everything. And what happened? Nothing. No signature, no papers. Just more lies and delays. At this point, all I can do is laugh at how predictable he turned out to be.
A bold move on your part, certainly, but you did your part. And more importantly, he never once asked you to sign over the property. It remains in your name. That gives you leverage.
Exactly. I had no intention of staying there, not after everything. I was going to sell it, take the proceeds, and start fresh. But now, after discovering the affair, let's just say I have a few more plans in mind. Honestly, I never thought I'd end up getting a breakup bonus, but if he wants to throw money at me to make this go away, fine, I'll take it. Then I'll hit back twice as hard.
You did accept the separation settlement, that is true. But I assume from your tone that you have no intention of letting that be the end of it?
Not a chance. He doesn't get to buy his way out of 5 years of manipulation, emotional abuse, and gaslighting. He wanted a war, so now he has one. I've waited long enough. Now it's my turn to reclaim every ounce of power he tried to take from me.
Understood. Then I'll begin preparations immediately. First, I'll pick you up and take you to the meeting with our legal team. They're expecting us. Once we finalize our timeline and public disclosure strategy, we can proceed.
Perfect. Let's make sure Ethan learns that underestimating me was the most expensive mistake of his life.
As you wish. I'll be there shortly. Stay where you are and be ready.
Kate, I've just found out that Ethan has blocked me. He won't return my calls, won't respond to my texts, nothing. So could you pass along a message for me? I filled out my part of the divorce paperwork. I need him to complete the necessary sections. Oh, how surprising. You're being very cooperative all of a sudden, aren't you? I honestly expected you to fight a little more, maybe try to guilt trip me or throw a last-minute tantrum, but look at you acting all calm and mature. I'll admit, I didn't see that coming. Don't get cheeky. You're not planning something, are you? Because the last time you were this agreeable, we ended up with a plumber's bill that wasn't ours. Not at all. If anything, I'm just tired. This entire relationship has drained me. I gave everything I had, and in the end, I still wasn't enough for Ethan. He discarded me like I was disposable. That hurts more than I care to admit. But I'm ready to move on now. The sooner we get this divorce finalized, the sooner I can stop holding my breath. And Ethan? I'm sure he's eager to start a new life with his shiny new companion. So, if playing the role of a graceful ex-wife makes this easier, I'm more than willing to do that, for everyone's sake. Well, that's surprisingly noble of you. You're taking this better than I expected. I thought there'd be more resentment, more theatric. But if you're really letting this go, then maybe we can actually get through this without bloodshed. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. There's just one small thing I'd like you to help with before we finalize everything. It's a document. I'd appreciate your signature on it. A document? What kind of document? That isn't one of those sneaky post-nup tricks, is it? Not at all. It's simply something to help avoid any future disputes about the division of assets. You know how messy those conversations can get. I figured it would be best for everyone's mental health if we put some ground rules in writing ahead of time. This isn't going to be some one-sided agreement that benefits you and leaves Ethan with scraps, is it? I'd never do that. Let's be honest, both Ethan and I brought a lot into this marriage individually. We each owned things in our own names before the wedding, and we continue to maintain our own financial identities even while married. All I'm suggesting is a written agreement that says any assets in one's individual name remain with that person after the divorce. So, you're saying that if Ethan's name is on something, like the car, for instance, then he keeps it? Exactly. That car, I barely used it. It's always been Ethan's thing. And there are several other items like some electronics, collectibles, and stocks that are registered under his name. I'm not trying to claw at anything that's rightfully his. But on the same note, there are items under my name too. And rather than spending weeks bickering over valuations and ownership percentages, I thought we could just avoid that by agreeing to this up front. You've clearly put a lot of thought into this. And I suppose if we don't want this to turn into a courtroom circus, having that kind of clarity might actually help. This whole process has been exhausting enough already. I'd like to avoid dragging it out if possible. Exactly my thinking. The faster we get this sorted, the sooner everyone can go on with their lives. The best case scenario for everyone involved, wouldn't you agree? Well, when you put it like that, yes, I suppose I do agree. You're being far more rational than I thought you'd be. I've had a lot of time to reflect. Anger served me for a while, but now I just want peace. I want to build something that's mine, start over without this constant weight on my shoulders. And I think Ethan deserves that too, in his own way. Even if we didn't end things the way I wanted, I don't want to be the one holding him back. So yes, I'll bring both documents, the divorce papers and the property agreement, when we meet. All right. Bring them, I'll look them over. If everything's as you say, and not some underhanded trick, then you have my word that I'll sign. Let's get this over with, clean and fast. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Miss Kate, I've had her sign the document. To my surprise, she signed it without much hesitation. Truly impressive work on your part.
Of course she did. I didn't lie to her after all. And let's be honest, legal documents can be intimidating and hard to grasp for people who aren't used to them. So I broke it down in a way that even she could understand. Simple terms, no confusion.
I see. You anticipated her reaction perfectly.
Exactly. I explained it as clearly as I could. That all issues related to asset division and compensation would be decided through lawyers. And that all personal belongings would remain with the individual whose name is on the ownership. No ambiguity, no loopholes. She agreed to it after that.
She seemed pleased about getting to keep the car.
Let her have it. That car is nothing more than a consolation prize. Think of it as a farewell gift for her loyalty to Ethan's lies.
Your strategy is flawless, Miss Kate. You've stood your ground without resorting to underhanded tactics, yet your opponent has been boxed in completely. It's poetic justice.
After everything I endured for the past 5 years, I think I deserve a little poetry. What really amazes me is how easily she agreed to exclude all personally owned property from division. She signed away her leverage without even realizing it.
Drafting that clause in advance was a stroke of brilliance. It's truly an honor to serve someone with such foresight.
And I'm lucky to have someone like you by my side.
I'm deeply grateful, Miss Kate.
Hold on just a minute. That so-called negotiation yesterday, you tricked us, didn't you? I didn't trick anyone. That meeting was held in the presence of legal counsel on both sides. It was an honest, structured conversation, completely fair and within the bounds of the law. Don't play innocent with me. I'm talking about the house. You're planning to steal it from us, aren't you? You've got your eyes on the whole thing. Steal? There's no theft involved here. The house is legally under my name. Your words during the meeting made that very clear. You agreed, quite confidently I might add, that anything registered under someone's name was their rightful property, free to be dealt with however they choose. But wait, wasn't it Ethan who bought that house? I mean, he paid for it, didn't he? He might have picked it out, but let's not rewrite history. He handed over the entire purchasing process to me. Every document, every form, every signature. He didn't lift a finger. And as a result, the deed, the mortgage, and every official record have my name on them, not his. That's ridiculous. I don't believe it. Then feel free to confirm it with him. You're with him right now, aren't you? I was just speaking with him minutes ago. Ask him yourself. This can't be! See? He gave the order and expected everything to just magically become his. He never even thought to check the paperwork. That's not ownership. That's arrogance. By the way, yesterday's meeting only covered the divorce agreement and the separation payout. Now that the divorce is finalized, I'll be moving forward with a claim for damages, specifically emotional distress and infidelity-related compensation. What? Damages? You've already taken the house and now you want money too? Of course I do. We've already submitted evidence of Ethan's affair to my attorney. You can contest it if you like, but I'll warn you, the chances of winning are very slim. Our case is strong. Hold on. Didn't you just say you hadn't even noticed the affair? True, I didn't at first. That part's on me. But just because I wasn't paying attention doesn't mean he was being careful. He never even tried to cover his tracks. That arrogance is exactly why he'll lose. What do you mean, tracks? The last time I stopped by to get Ethan's signature on the divorce papers and the agreement, I looked around a little, quietly. I figured if there was something going on, it'd be in his room. You what? Hotel receipts. A shirt with lipstick stains. Text messages backed up to his tablet. I found plenty, more than enough to prove what was going on. I was naive not to see it sooner, but I'm not blind anymore. We have everything we need. But we gave you a separation payment. Doesn't that count for something? That was your idea, not mine. That payment was meant to sever the personal connection, not clear Ethan of wrongdoing. Nowhere in the agreement did I waive my right to pursue damages. If you think I'm out of line, feel free to have your lawyer contact mine. Just don't expect me to back down. You taught your son that he could treat people like tools. I'm here to teach him that actions have consequences. What the hell is going on, Kate? I just got a notice from the real estate company telling me I need to vacate the house. Well, that makes sense. I sold the house already. You sold it? Are you out of your mind? That fast? Yes, I did. That area has become a hotspot for buyers, and the market value went up significantly. I was always planning to sell after the divorce anyway, just needed the right buyer. And it didn't take long, since I intentionally bought in a high-demand area to begin with. Wait a minute. Are you telling me you planned all this from the start? Of course I did. I knew I was going to divorce Ethan eventually. But you and your son made such a fuss about us having to buy a home, acting like it was some kind of proof of commitment. So I went ahead and bought it, but let's not forget I paid for it. And before you start complaining, you signed off on all the paperwork yourself. You knew exactly what the terms were. This is betrayal. You tricked me, tricked all of us. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. By all means, feel free to go that route. But you'll be dealing with the new owners, not me. They're set to move in next month. And you know what? I actually got lucky. I expected the price to drop a little with the divorce, but the opposite happened. I ended up selling it for $2.5 million. Also, I filed for $180,000 in damages. So, between that and the buyout agreement, I'm walking away with $3 million total. It worked out better than expected, honestly. Hold on. You're asking for $180,000 in damages? That's insane! Nobody pays that much in a divorce. Even cheating cases don't go that high. This is outrageous. If it was just about the affair, you'd be right. But this isn't just about Ethan cheating. The amount reflects multiple things: emotional abuse, psychological manipulation, and financial control from Ethan. And let's not forget the years of harassment I endured from you. Harassment? What are you even talking about? You're seriously going to start making up lies now? Nothing I'm saying is a lie. Ethan called me things like a woman who's only good for making money, a failure who can't even respect a man, someone so cold and heartless it'd be disgusting to have a child with you. All of it is recorded. Every word is on tape. And you? You threw dishes at me just because you didn't like my cooking. You accidentally bumped into me near the stairs more than once. Let's not forget the time you dumped boiling water on me and said your hand slipped. I still have the doctor's report from that burn. All of it is documented, and every bit of it is going into the case.
Miss Kate, I'm ready to report the results of the investigation.
That was fast. I wasn't expecting you to be done already. So, what did you find?
Much easier than I anticipated. Mr. Ethan falsified parts of his resume and used that to secure his current position.
Let me guess. He lied about his work history?
Exactly. According to our findings, Ethan is currently working as an international sales manager at a major corporation. But on his resume, he greatly exaggerated his foreign language skills and fabricated an overseas assignment that never happened.
Of course he did. That's just like him. He always wanted to look more impressive than he actually was, and now he's sitting in some high-rise office because of lies?
Yes, ma'am. The deception seems to have worked for a while, but with this information, I imagine his current employer will have a very different view of his qualifications.
Good. Let's make sure they do. Send everything we have to his HR department, and don't forget to include that little love letter I drafted.
Understood. I'll format the data accordingly and include your personal message as requested. I'll make sure it's delivered with the proper sentiment.
Make it memorable, Smith. If Ethan thought he could rewrite his past, let's help him face the truth with consequences. Kate, I can't pay the settlement right now. I just don't have the money. Things have been really difficult financially. Not surprising. Ethan just got suspended from his job. That probably threw a wrench into your little support system, didn't it? Wait, how do you know that? What did you do? I reported him. I sent his company the photos and videos I had of him hooking up with his junior coworker, along with a detailed explanation of how he violated their company's ethics policy by having a relationship with someone under him. So you're the reason he's suspended? No, his behavior is the reason. I just made sure the truth came out. And, in case you're wondering, I also included details about his fake resume. The company now knows he made up foreign work experience and exaggerated his language skills.
You ruined his career!
He ruined it himself. He lied. He cheated. And you defended him every step of the way. So don't act shocked now. This is what accountability looks like.
You're cruel! How could you do this? Ethan got demoted!
He got demoted because the company reviewed his conduct and qualifications and made a decision. Did you really think they wouldn't dig into things during his suspension?
But a demotion? Isn't that a little extreme?
He couldn't deny the affair. There were photos, videos, timestamps. It was all there, and the evidence was overwhelming. And once HR started investigating, it didn't take them long to realize he'd lied about his resume. His language skills were exaggerated, and he never actually worked overseas like he claimed. Big corporations don't just let that slide. They dig. They verify. As a result, Ethan was bumped down from manager to a regular staff role. I've heard his salary's been slashed by nearly 40%.
How do you know all that? That's supposed to be private.
Let's just say I have my ways. But the important thing is, he's no longer in a position of influence. His promotion track is over. His golden career, gone. Oh, and in case you're curious, his affair partner, Emily, got hit too. Her evaluation dropped, and she's been reassigned to a different department. And with my settlement demand hanging over them, I'm sure they've both got their hands full now.
Please, don't you feel even a little sorry for him?
Sorry? For the man who cheated on me and lied to everyone? No, the only one I feel sorry for is myself for ever being involved with either of you.
You got the relatives on your side too?
Of course I did. I figured you'd run into them at some point, so I made sure to get ahead of it.
What are you talking about?
I told them the truth. That you tried to take over a $2 million house that wasn't yours, and when that didn't work, you offered me $300,000 to leave quietly.
You had no right! Now they're calling me shameless. Some even said they're cutting ties with me completely.
Well, a lot of those relatives work for companies tied to my parents' business. Continuing to support you could put their own jobs at risk. So they made a choice. They chose to protect themselves and drop you.
We can't live like this. Ethan's income has already taken a big hit, and things are getting tighter by the day.
That's not my problem. If you're struggling, maybe it's time you got a job instead of begging people to save you. Crying about it won't change anything if you're not willing to work for it. Oh, and one more thing. Tell Ethan that if he still can't come up with a full settlement all at once, I'll accept monthly payments, but they'll come with a 15% interest fee.
15%?
That's right. If he wants to stop the bleeding fast, one lump sum would be his best option. Assuming you two have any savings left, which I doubt.
Miss Kate, I wanted to inform you that Mr. Ethan has applied for the job posting we discussed.
You're kidding? He actually took the bait?
Given his current situation, it was inevitable. The listing I anonymously submitted was tailored to match his supposed skill set almost too perfectly. There was no way he could resist it.
I figured he'd try to claw his way out of the mess he created, but this is almost too easy. He really thinks this is his chance to turn things around. Too bad for him, it's not. Smith, I'll leave the rest to you.
Understood. I'll proceed as planned. Everything will be handled discreetly.
Hey, I called the number listed on that job posting and now my son is completely falling apart. What the hell did you say to him?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you kindly for reaching out. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Smith. I'm Miss Kate's personal assistant and advisor.
What are you doing involved in a job interview? Why were you even there?
You seem to be mistaken. That was not a job interview. It was something far more important. I was there to deliver what we consider a final notice, a personal message from Miss Kate to Mr. Ethan.
A message? What kind of message?
A very thorough one. It was a file documenting 5 years of verbal abuse, physical aggression, and patterns of manipulation, all meticulously compiled and time-stamped. Copies of that file now exist in multiple secure locations. If it were ever to be made public, it would effectively make Mr. Ethan unemployable. In certain circumstances, it could even lead to legal prosecution.
That sounds like a threat to me.
I assure you it is not a threat. Miss Kate has merely extended her mercy by choosing not to expose him. But let us be clear, the only reason such devastating evidence exists in the first place is because of Mr. Ethan's own actions. He wrote his own downfall. She's just giving him a chance to read it.
Please, something's wrong with Ethan. He's not the same anymore. He's completely falling apart. I'm scared for him. Can't you do something?
Do what exactly? Clean up after him again? Rescue him from the consequences he's created?
He tried to repay you. That's why he got involved in that terrible plan. He thought if he could come up with the money fast, it would fix everything. But it didn't work, and now the debt is worse. I even went out and got a job. I'm working myself to the bone. 2 jobs, actually. I get home aching and exhausted every night, but it's not enough. It's never enough. We're drowning.
Then why don't you ask his new wife for help? Or is she too busy scrambling to pay off the settlement and legal fees from the fallout of their affair?
Kate, please. I know how this looks. I know mistakes were made. Ethan was wrong. I was wrong too. But he's still your ex-husband. He was a part of your life. Doesn't that mean anything?
No, it doesn't. Not anymore. He gave up any right to kindness from me the moment he chose lies over love, control over compassion. And you enabled it. You defended him. You told me to stop being dramatic. You said I should be grateful he provided for me, that I was lucky.
I didn't understand then. I see it now, but it's too late, isn't it? He's broken, Kate. I've never seen him like this. He walks around like a ghost. Some days he barely speaks. I know what we did was unforgivable, but please, just tell me what we're supposed to do.
You're supposed to live with it. For 5 years, I was the one left in pieces. 5 years of being ignored, dismissed, belittled, manipulated. I questioned my own sanity because of how carefully he twisted the truth. And you watched. You chose not to see. So here's what I'll say. If you want sympathy, wait 5 years. 5 years of struggling, of lying awake at night, worrying about money, about your future. 5 years of being told it's your own fault and no one wants to hear your side. 5 years of silence and shame. Then maybe, just maybe, I'll be ready to hear your apology.
You really won't help? Not at all?
No. You made your choice when you turned your back on me. Now you get to live with it. Ethan's life had completely spiraled out of control. After being forced to pay alimony, he started cracking under the weight of the stress. Not only was he financially ruined, but someone had also gotten a hold of his darkest secrets and began blackmailing him. The constant fear of exposure kept him awake at night. His nerves were frayed, his judgment unstable. Then came the final blow, trouble with the woman he had cheated with. Their affair had been built on lies and manipulation, and it was only a matter of time before that foundation crumbled. She began making demands, accusing him of ruining her life, threatening to go public with even more details. The arguments turned violent, and soon Ethan found himself completely cornered, emotionally exhausted, and mentally fragile. That's when he finally broke. He lost touch with reality, unable to cope with everything collapsing at once. Alice tried desperately to take care of him. At first, she thought it was just stress, something that would pass if she kept him safe and fed. But as the days turned into weeks, and Ethan began lashing out, throwing things, and shouting at nothing in particular,
Her hope began to wane. She couldn't calm him. She couldn't protect him from himself. And worse, she couldn't keep the outside world at bay. Debt collectors began showing up at their door, pounding on it at all hours, demanding repayment for the money Ethan had borrowed but squandered. Some shouted threats, others left notices or called relentlessly. Alice, once so proud and composed, now trembled with every knock, every ring of the phone. She stopped answering. She closed the blinds, but that didn't make it go away. The fear crept into her bones. She wasn't sleeping, she wasn't eating. Watching her son fall apart and being powerless to stop it slowly chipped away at her sanity too. Eventually, something had to give, and it did. It was Smith, of all people, who took pity on them. Despite everything Ethan and Alice had done to others, despite all the pain they had caused, Smith still chose not to let them destroy themselves in silence. Maybe he thought it was justice. Maybe he thought it was mercy. Either way, he gathered all the evidence he had, including Ethan's threats, the forged financial documents, and the messages that tied Alice to the cover-up, and handed it all over to the police. Ethan was arrested first. When they came to the house, he didn't even fight it. He was in a daze, muttering nonsense under his breath. The police officers handled him gently at first, as if they were detaining a lost child. Alice, however, was more resistant. She screamed at them, told them they were making a mistake, tried to slam the door shut, but the officers didn't budge. When they explained what she was being charged with, she collapsed to the floor, too stunned to speak. They were both taken into custody that day, and ironically, that was when things finally quieted down. It was almost cruel. How peace came only after everything had fallen apart, but it was also poetic in a way. They had spent years manipulating and exploiting others, thinking they were clever enough to get away with it forever. In the end, their lies caught up to them, and in the wake of their downfall, there was finally silence. As for me, I had already stepped away from that world before the worst of it happened. I moved into a small condo I had purchased entirely with my own savings. It wasn't anything extravagant, but it was mine. I had earned it. No one could take it away from me, and no one had the right to claim they built it for me or that I owed them something. I furnished it slowly, piece by piece, choosing each item carefully and intentionally. It became a place of peace, a space where I could breathe without worrying someone would come along and try to poison it. My work had been going well too. Freed from the drama, I found my focus again. I built a reputation for being reliable and thoughtful, someone who delivered results without drama. Clients respected me and colleagues supported me. I felt like I was finally building a life on my own terms.